Hey guys, what's up? Andrew here, obviously, and I'm back for part 8 of my vinyl collection. I got 6 records to show off. They're all metal, heavy, thrash, doom, death. We got a pretty good selection here, so let's just get started. Alright, well, first album up is a death metal album, and it's widely regarded as one of the greatest death metal albums, if not the greatest death metal album of all time, by the greatest death metal band of all time. I wouldn't go that far, but I love this album. You love this album. Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel. Morbid Angel, Florida death metal legends. Obviously, this is their debut from 1989, and this is, again, I wouldn't say it's the greatest death metal album ever, but it's really damn good. This is a recent repress, full dynamic range from Earache, gatefold with the lyrics. I first heard this album my senior year of high school. First off, I want to show off the center labels. I'm going to show off both because they're really cool. Love how the red logo looks. And then it's kind of like a redesign of the demons on the album cover. I first heard this album senior year when I was first getting into death metal. So around, I want to say late April, early May, my high school senior year, 2017. There's the really awesome record sleeve, but I don't use it anymore, obviously. Still want to keep it. Anyways, I first heard this album senior year, high school, late April, early May 2017. I was getting into death, and I was like, oh, well, I want to check out some more death metal and get more into the genre now. I'm finally enjoying it. So I heard this album, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the vocals. I didn't like the drumming. I thought there were too many blast beats. I didn't like the lyrics. I didn't like anything about it. Fast forward a few months, summer, and I listened to this album again. I liked it even less. I just didn't care for it. Then, over the fall of 2017, I kept building up, more death metal bands. I got more into the Florida scene, got more into the Swedish scene. Came back, songs like Chapel of Ghouls was the first song off this album that really clicked with me. I love the hook in it. I love the synth in it. I think that sounds so cool. But I still couldn't get into the album until 2018. Revisited it. It just clicked. And yeah, this album is incredible. Immortal Rights starts off the album, and that's not only my favorite song on the album, but that's my favorite Morbid Angel song ever, because that snare hit at the beginning is just phenomenal. Suffocation, Visions from the Dark Side, Maze of Torment is so riff heavy. Since this is a reissue, this comes with Lord of All Fevers and Plagues, which they left off the original. Great track. Chapel of Ghouls, as I already talked about. Bleed for the Devil, Damnation, just like Maze of Torment, it has just so many amazing riffs in it. Blasphemy, and then Evil Spells. This album rules, but you don't need me to tell you that. You've all heard it, you all love it. In terms of Morbid Angel's discography, even though this is my favorite, other than like Heretic and their newest album, which I'm just kind of like whatever about, and Elude Divinium Maianis, which is just fucking complete dog shit, Domination's pretty solid. Everything else I love. I love this, Blessed of the Sick, Covenant, Formulas Fatal to the Flesh, Gateway to Annihilation. I love all that stuff. So now I completely understand why people say this is their favorite death metal band. I didn't get that before. Now I do. I absolutely adore Morbid Angel, but most death metal fans do. Most death metal fans enjoy this band. There's not much that needs to be said about something like this. Everyone knows it's good, So, if you haven't listened to it, I don't know why you're watching this channel, but check it out. Next up is a well, it's not really an album. I don't even know what to call this. I picked this up in a local, not local, but a smaller Pittsburgh record shop. When I bought this, they were going by Cruel Noise Records, but I believe they're called Pleasant Dream Records now. So this is Motorhead with a promotional copy of some songs off of Another Perfect Day. And if I take this out of the sleeve, it actually says up here, promotional copy, not for sale. So obviously I bought it. Comes one track, Mind, Rocket, and I've Got Mine. The first track and the third track are radio edits. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about this because I mean they're good songs, but it's not an album. It's something that was probably sent to a radio station to play, and I think that's really cool that I have something like this. It's the only Motorhead album or Motorhead record I have, just a standard Mercury center label. I do actually have Ace of Spades on vinyl, but it's a recent press that sounds horrible, and the covers beat the shit, and I just don't even want to bring it out. This is so cool. I really dig this. It's one of my favorite records in the collection, honestly. In terms of the album, I guess I could talk about the album. Another Perfect Day. Very underrated. Very underrated Motorhead album. I think Motorhead is so underrated as it is, but this album is really, really good. So, if you haven't listened to Motorhead past, the 3 albums that everyone listens to, Another Perfect Day is an album I check out. Same with like Orgasmatron, Rock and Roll. They just have so many good albums. Honestly, at this point, like I put them above Iron Maiden. I put them above Judas Priest. I would say they're one of my favorite heavy metal bands ever. I absolutely love Motorhead. This is super cool. So if you haven't listened to Another Perfect Day, check that out because it's fucking cool. Next album up is a thrash metal album, and it's an 80s thrash metal album from very, maybe not popular, like they're not household names by any means, but if you're into 80s thrash, you know these guys. I'm not super into them, but if I'm looking for just metal to put on in the background, which I don't know if anyone else does. Does anyone else listen to metal in the background? You don't really have to pay attention to it, just noise. I put on this album. Overkill, Taking Over. This is their, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's their second album. Overkill, East Coast thrash metal band. I don't even know what to say about this. They have a very loyal fan base. They have people who will write up and down that they're the most consistent thrash band ever, that Years of Decay is a masterpiece, and Horoscope is a masterpiece, and stuff like that. I kind of don't agree. Really cool cover, though, and packaging in general. I personally don't agree. Sound label, very basic. I think they're good. I don't think they're a bad band by any means. But I kind of don't get the hype, I guess. I don't know. Granted, I don't really listen to thrash anymore unless it's like a select few bands. There's the original record sleeve, cool pictures of the band. And I've already talked about this. I only listen to a select few thrash bands anymore. And those bands that I do listen to, I do really, really love. Overkill is just, they're a good band. I mean, I don't think they're amazing, but they're by no means horrible. If I could... if you knew the struggles I had to do to get this fucking video started, this is nothing. But yeah, Overkill, good band. Not my favorite 80s thrash band. Not really a band I listen to a lot, but if I want something in the background just to, have as noise, I will put this album on. There are some good songs on here. Deny the Cross, Wrecking Crew, and then the last song, Overkill 2, The Nightmare Continues. Those are my 3 favorite songs on the album. Everything else, Fear His Name, Use Your Head, Fatal If Swallowed, Power Surge and Union We Stand, Electroviolence. They're not bad. They're really not that bad. It's just not. It's just not for me. It's just this kind of thrash is just not my thing. If I'm gonna listen to thrash, I need something really heavy and really brutal, or something more technical. So something brutal like Demolition Hammer or Morbid Saint, something like that. Dark Angel. If I'm going to be listening to like something more technical, Coroner, Voivod, Watchtower, Atrocious, stuff like that. Oh, also Protector for the brutal thrash bands. That's a really underrated band. And Celtic Frost, if you consider them thrash. I personally do, but some people don't. So, if you're into 80s thrash and you haven't listened to Overkill, you should definitely still give them a chance. They're just not like for me, but they're fine, you know. They're a good band. It's just I'm not a huge Overkill fan, but this is probably I guess technically my second favorite album from them. Number one obviously being Years of Decay, but not bad. Next up, oh boy. This is an album that I don't like. And not only do I not like it, I really, really despise it. It's a very classic metal album, heavy metal album from the 80s, 1980 to be exact. Very classic. It's a solo band. The guy behind it is probably the most iconic metal singer of all time, but I absolutely just hate everything he released after a certain point, and this is his first solo album. Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz on fucking picture disc. I got this as a Christmas gift from my brother because he knows that I don't like this album, and he was just being just a wonderful brother. So, thanks. Ozzy Osbourne, obviously, former lead singer of Black Sabbath, got kicked out, and this is his first solo album. There's the cover, back, and obviously I'm going to show off the picture disc because I might as well at this point. Original cover, and then the back cover with Ozzy holding up his hands. I don't like picture disc because I just don't like the sound quality, and this is not only is this a picture disc, but it's a picture disc of an album that I don't even like. So that's great. But you might be asking, why don't you like this album? Why don't you like Blizzard of Oz? It's one of the most classic metal albums ever. Well, I don't understand why it's one of the most classic metal albums ever, to be completely honest with you. Mr. Crowley is okay. I'll give you that. Mr. Crowley's okay. And while I do think the songwriting is kind of bland, I do think Randy Rhoads is a fantastic guitarist. Bob Daisley and Lee Kurzweil, very underrated bass and drummer, respectively. I think Ozzy just sounds like shit on this album, to be completely honest. And the songs are just, oh my god. I Don't Know is whatever. Crazy Train is honestly one of the worst metal songs of the 80s. I absolutely despise that song. I will take everything on Coal Lake. Cherry Orchards by Celtic Frost. I will take that over this. I will take so much other 80s metal, or just metal in general, or just music in general, over Crazy Train. I think that song is really, really bad. Not only is it overplayed, but I just think it's cringy lyrics. Like, I know metal can be cringy sometimes. I really do, but God, it's terrible. Goodbye to Romance, D, or just whatever. Suicide Solution is just boring as hell. Mr. Crowley, I already talked about. That's a really good song. I'll be honest, that's a good song. The keyboards are great. The 3 Randy Rhoads guitar solos, awesome. Lyrics are terrible, but what else is new? No Bone Movies, Revelation, Mother Earth, Steal Away the Night. Steal Away the Night is like semi-listenable. I guess that's the only other listenable song on here, but I don't like this album. I don't like any Ozzy solo album. Hell, I'm not even like a big. I like Ozzy Sabbath, obviously, but like if I'm gonna listen to Black Sabbath, it's gonna be Dio or it's gonna be Martin or Hughes. Like that, I'm just being real. I I think he's very overrated. I don't really get the hype, and I don't really like, or not like. I mean, I don't really care if you like this more than like Heaven and Hell, which came out the same year. I just don't understand your logic at all. Unless you're Loudwire, which you pick it anyways because it has Crazy Train and oh, it's popular, which means it's good because we're Loudwire. Fucking whatever. I don't like the album. Let's just move on. Next album, actually the next two albums are the last two albums are from 2017. So we got some modern stuff in here. This album is actually really great, and it takes me back to 2017, which was like the first year of me being a metal fan, where I actually like started paying attention to the underground. Pallbearer, Heartless. This just takes me back to 2017. Back then, the biggest debate in the metal community was, were you a Heartless guy or were you a Reflections of a Floating World guy? The packaging is just stunning. I was always an older guy, personally. I just enjoyed their sound more. But this album is... it's so good. Double album, very simple. Center labels. And, oh, there goes the other side. That's great. Come on. So, I first heard this album, obviously in 2017. It's just a lyric sheet. I won't show the other because it's pretty much the same. It is the same. I got this in 2017, and I got this, I believe, from the Exchange, which is a local store near my dorm that sold both. They sold records. They sold old video games, like from old consoles. New stuff, new games and stuff. So I always go there and get like, Nintendo 64 games or PlayStation 4 games, and I go there to check out the records, and I picked this up there. So this is a really fucking cool album. I Saw the End, Thorns, Live Survival, Dancing in Madness, Cruel Road, Heartless, and then A Plea for Understanding is the last song. Takes up the fourth side. I love this album. I love Pallbearer, but I'm an older guy, and again, like this just takes me back to like everyone. It was like always either Pallbearer or Elder, and it was just like, man, I miss those days, So yeah, I really like this album. It's a doom metal album. I guess I forgot to mention that. Pallbearer are an American. I think they're American. Doom metal bands, and this album has traces of doom metal, heavy metal, some sludge near the end. But yeah, this is such a good album. So if you're into doom and you want to get into modern doom, Pallbearer is one of the best modern doom bands in my opinion. So absolutely check out this album. Then if you want to hear a better 2017 doom album, then check out Elder's Reflections. But I don't want to shit on this album. Just because I prefer Elder doesn't mean that this is bad, because this is still just... it's still so good. It just makes me so nostalgic for years past. So, Pallbearer, Heartless, great album. Check it out if you haven't. Last album from 2017, and if people's number one album of the year wasn't Heartless, it wasn't Reflections of a Floating World, it was this. But compared to those other albums, I don't understand why people said this was better. Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. I picked this up, actually, interestingly enough, in my my college bookstore. Sells records, and I picked this up fall of 2017 when it was still pretty hyped. I don't even think Power Trip released a new album yet. They're still... man, people love this album, and they're still riding off the hype from it, at least somewhat. I do really like how their logo looks in the center label. people really dug this album. And I actually dug it too when I first heard it, because 2017, I was still pretty into thrash metal. This is a poster. So there's the lyrics. And then here is pretty cool. Oh, it's upside down. Pretty cool poster. When I first heard this album, I was pretty into it, to be honest with you. Because I was still a big thrash guy, because back in like late 2017, I wasn't really into like... I was only into like certain death metal bands. I was just getting into doom metal. Heavy metal I still really enjoyed, and thrash metal was like, that was the most extreme music that I consistently enjoyed. So when this came out and everyone was hyping it as like the best thrash album of the decade and best thrash album of the year and one of the best thrash albums ever, I of course bought into the hype. I bought the record and I enjoyed it. Looking back, Power Trip, in my opinion, are just another dime a dozen modern thrash band that I don't want to say rip off, but are heavily inspired by late 80s Exodus, Demolition Hammer, which, I mean, I understand. I mean, I love Demolition Hammer too, but we can do new things with thrash. I mean, I understand thrash isn't the most versatile, metal genre out there, but we can do new things. We don't have to just copy 80s stuff. Every time I heard a review of this album, it's like, oh, it sounds just like Exodus. Oh, it just sounds like the 80s stuff, and that's why we like it. I mean, I understand, but, like, don't you want the genre to, like, move past that? I don't know. Soul Sacrifice, Executioner's Tax, Swing of the Axe, which is the most famous song on the album. Firing Squad, title track. Waiting Around to Die is pretty good. Ruination, If Not Us, Then Who, Crucifixion. I don't want to shit on this album too much, because it's really not, like, an awful album like fucking Blizzard of Oz. And the guys... Oh, I almost dropped it. The guys seem really cool, so I don't want to, sound like a dickhead and say this is terrible, but I don't know. I don't really care for much thrash that's being released nowadays, unless it's like blackened thrash, which is cool as shit, like Hell Ripper, and stuff like that. I really enjoy stuff like that. I said that twice. I enjoy stuff like that. I said it 3 times. Jesus Christ. This is just kind of okay. It's okay in my opinion, nothing crazy. If you're into 80s thrash and want to get into modern thrash, check this out, especially if you're into like Exodus and Demolition Hammer and shit like that. You'll probably enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too cynical. I've just moved on. So, yeah, Power Trip. Whatever. Anyways, this is a fucking awful video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.